And as a father, I mean, you talked about your dad who was so strict. You guys did connect at some point. Have you tried to make sure that you're very different with your own kids?
Yes, of course. I'd like my kids to enjoy life and approach me and, tell me about their dreams, ask me questions, even, blast me if I've made a mistake and so on, which would
That
you'd
is
never
not the African way.
I
What do you
know,
mean?
because I want it totally a reverse of what took place in my childhood. If you make your kids your best friends, then I think you're already 80% where you want to be as a good
Because some
parent.
people say that you're a parent first before you're a friend.
No, I think
Is your partner the one who's more strict?
no, I am.
Oh, okay.
Because our kids have also learned to be clever now. If they want certain things that they think they may not get, they'll go through mommy. The only disappointment is they'll say, no, talk to daddy. For certain things, I don't have choices over. But then it's a way of having mommy try and influence me. Omanya abana kati bakuze, onayagala kaggali, onayagala kino biki. They'd like to go to Disney World, things like that.
You see it.
Yes.
And you know it.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's true.
all right. So now, leaving radio, like you said, it was a tough thing for you because you had done it forever, and then you're going out to do your own thing. So are you happy with where you are right now in life?
Yes. You've got to be contented with life, otherwise.
What's the secret? I mean, we all know you're supposed to do that.
Yes.
That's the route to being happy, but how do you do it?
Or else you'll end up being stressed for the rest of your life. Because I mean, there's always something more to achieve or to want. I mean, even if you buy a Mercedes Benz, then the next thing you'll want a Ferrari. Then the next thing you want a Bugatti. If you've got a nice bungalow, then the next thing you want is a storied building and so on and so forth. So it's just to accept that, as long as you're happy in life, especially material things, that is all that matters. Yes. So once you accept that, be contented with what you have, then the rest can always come if you really must have it or if you really want to. So once I accepted that, there are always people who are worse off than you are. Always. That's the thing I always remind myself about. If you wanted to achieve something and then fail, you must always be take things philosophically. And say, first of all, there are people who are not even in my position. There's somebody who cannot walk upright because they're disabled. They use a wheelchair to move about. There's somebody who's blind, who has never known what a phone looks like, what my wife looks like, what my kids look like. So once you appreciate that there's always somebody worse off, then I think you'll be comfortable with life.
Okay. You talked about the DJs who mentored you. Had you taken it on yourself to mentor any of the younger DJs?
Yes, I've done so many, even in terms of radio. I'm the one who, for example, took people like Roger Mugisha to radio. Because when I was leaving Sanyo FM, Maroni Tiang was the manager then. Yes, so I then took Roger Mugisha to her and said, I think this is a very talented boy who could, do well on radio. Please give him an opportunity.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
and lots of other DJs like DJ Emma. It's called DJ Snoop these days. Some people have mentored. Others dropped off along the way because they, had other interests in life and so on and so forth. But I've done that, and in future, if all goes well, I'd like to open up a DJing school and maybe like a media center where I can mentor people, radio presenters.
Actually,
TV.
because a few years ago there was a debate about. I think some DJs who've been doing this for 20 years were saying that a lot of the younger DJs, much as, they almost like they're using shortcuts because you just get a computer, you get a bit of software, and then you become a DJ.
Yes, that's true.
Do you feel that might be accurate?
Yes, it is. Which is not right in my opinion, because you also need some sort of training somewhat. Because another beef I have with DJs of these days is mixing music very quickly. One plays a song for 30 seconds and they're already, mixing another one. They don't give the audience or the patrons of a club time to enjoy music.
Yeah,
Because
you
if you
get up to dance to a song and you get to the dance floor and then
it's over, yes. Because if you do that, then it means you're playing music for yourself, the DJs.
yeah,
Yes,
true,
because
true.
otherwise, because people are used to listening to songs at full length on their iPods at home and so on. So when they come over to a gig, they would expect something similar.
And you're
So
also doing a disservice to the music, to the art of the music as well.
yes, and to the artist as well. Yes, people don't get to enjoy their songs to the
No,
full.
I remember talking to this to a younger DJ, and he was saying, "But you know, these days, attention span, people don't really, have that much time to listen to a whole song. But
No.
30 seconds,
At least play half the song.
and
Because
I think that's also why they find their challenge in their playlists that they end up repeating the same music over and over again
yes, yes,
because of those short.
yes, yes. Because then you're what's the word we used to use on radio? But anyway, you're exhausting your playlist very quickly. Yes, and remember, some, like especially these days, people have a tendency to want to listen to hit songs only, and you can only have such a number of hit songs. So if you're playing them very quickly, you'll run out of hits at some point. Yes,
And
and
also, pretty much DJs had a lot of power back in the day because they're the ones who would slip in the new music and kind of just like
exactly,
introduce it. Yeah.
that's true. So all that would take tutorship. You need to go to school, or get somebody to at least mentor you to teach you all that. You don't music too quickly, and also learn to listen to requests. That's another thing. Somebody walks up to a DJ, oh, can I please have this song? The most they'll do is say, okay, don't worry, and not play it. But most times they'll just shove you off and either ignore you or even insult you. People's skills, all those can only be learnt when you get mentored by somebody. But now if you just go online, download an app for mixing music and so on, and you think you're already a DJ and just walk over to a nightclub, it doesn't work that way.
Okay. So now, radio now and radio then. What's your take? What's your take? Look at your face.
I know there's a tendency. Back then, I think in our days, I'm sorry to say, I think people went on radio because first and foremost, they had the talent. Even employers then wanted to have the best talent on radio because they thought that was the best thing for business. And then also because they had the passion. But these days, just because anyone is a good dramatist, is a good stand-up comedian, there's a tendency to think radio is all about humor. So once you open up a radio station, could you get me a comedian? Could you get me a dramatist? And then also you can see lack of preparation in what people say on air. People are not informed at all. So I think radio has gone down instead of upwards, I'm afraid to say.
I like what you said. I mean, people forget like proper radio is supposed to entertain but educate and inform
exactly.
at the same time, and people focusing on the entertainment value. Okay. Something something to know.
But I guess that's the way of the world. I mean, as generations change, there's a way to want to do things differently.
And also now the digital
Age.
is here, so that plays out as well. You have to do things in tandem.
Yes, that's true. So I'm afraid we might get to a point where radio will be strictly entertainment, which is quite absurd.
Yeah.
Because we want our kids to sit down and listen to radio for entertainment. I mean, for information and
To take something away.
and education. Like in our days, I remember Radio Uganda used to have very educative programs during the day, where even if your child didn't go to school then because they were ill or whatever, you could have them sit by the radio and take notes and listen and so on and so forth. But not anymore. Content on radio, people don't care whether who's listening or not. They think everybody's interested in sexual innuendo, which again is also wrong. You know, you don't know who's
Because there's a responsibility that comes with that platform.
Yes, exactly. You don't know who's listening, and then you lose lots of fans by doing that. You talk dirty on your show, yet you don't know you probably had a fan who's a minister or a respectable person in society. It's amazing. I'm sure you've come across it. You're walking on the street, then a very respectable gentleman or lady stops you and says, "Oh, hi, Crystal, Rasta, I'm your great fan. I'm called so and so and so," and you really feel. You feel so flattered to have such a respectable person even listen to you. Yet you've always thought, I'm such a wild character and don't expect to have, a fan of this caliber. So imagine you'd lose that kind of fan if you went to radio and, started throwing very dirty jokes all over the place. People think everybody loves dirty jokes, which isn't the case.
I must say, I think what you were just saying about, your awesome responsibility. We're talking about radio, but I think in general, in life in general, in your interactions, people might need to censor themselves a bit more.
Yes, of course.
Because right now also we're living in a generation where people are like me, I, what I want.
Yes.
And they're forgetting.
Especially if we always owe to the younger generation, the responsibility of making sure we breed people who are rightful for society and so on and so forth. So as a responsible adult, always think of younger people coming through. They must be led by the best example.
True. You're talking about sexual innuendo on radio, but it's pretty much everywhere. If we're just even going to talk about WhatsApp, if we're going to talk about any form of media, even just on TV, that's a challenge.
80% of material shared on WhatsApp will be a dirty joke or, naked person or miniskirt or I don't know. It's very worrying when you think about 20 years down the road. What will society look like then? So all these things about in our days you need to go to Sunday school and so on and so on. I think religion is also going down the drain, which played a huge part in our upbringing. Yes, and so on and so forth. So I guess that also is a factor in that.
Now, just before we go, we're out of time. You said that you're working on some TV concepts. What else are you working on at the moment? What else are you working on at the moment?
Oh, okay. Besides the TV concepts, because I'm really into entertainment, chat shows, and so on and so forth. So I'm going along that line. And then I also do sports tourism, like I told you. We've got a company called Tuku Africa. What we do is take Ugandans to tour different parts of Africa, but in the name of sports. It could be to go take part in a marathon in Zimbabwe, and yes, or Kenya, and so on. And we also bring other Africans into Uganda to take part in sporting activities. Could be the MTN marathon, but to run on behalf of our company, and then also take them around. Besides that, go have a look at Kasubi tombs, Namugongo Mata shrine within Kampala. But if they would like to stay longer, then we take them all the way to Murchison Falls and so on and so forth. So it combines my passion of traveling and my passion of sports. Because even though I'm not a sportsman anymore, but I still love sports. So
did either of your kids pick up the passion for sports at any point?
I know. I'm a bit unlucky. I even thought of forcing them into sports, but I'm so unlucky. Maybe I should have had more kids, because if you have, say, 10, at least 3 or 4 will, have a passion for sports. So they've turned out to be almost the opposite of me.
Oh, have they turned out to be more academic oriented?
Yes, and also more of whiz kids or bookworms, more or like. Okay, my daughter may do a bit of. I'm trying to think of sports that is not too demanding. But what kind of table tennis maybe? I don't know. But these days, any kind of sports is still, a bit demanding. You've got to go gym and so on, and so forth. But I'm afraid I'm running out of time, because if you don't get kids interested into sports
when they're young,
then it's going to be a huge challenge later on.
Yeah. Speaking of sports, then that also just ties into being healthy. And,
yes.
And do you work out?
Of course.
Are you careful with what you eat?
Yes, I watch my diet, lifestyle, diet and exercise. The three go hand in hand,
Okay.
which most people don't realize. So people go to the gym, then after the gym they go straight to a pork joint and order some beer. That is no work done. You'd have, work out, eat well, yes, and then, have a good lifestyle. Do not smoke too much. Do not eat too many fatty foods and so on. Yes.
So
And
you're
exercise.
very strict with your diet?
Yes, I am.
Oh my.
Otherwise, I'd be obese by now, I think, because I love food.
You
Don't we all?
Oh yes, yes.
There's a lot of craving for ice cream, takeaway. But I it's all about moderation, actually. Don't
Okay.
do it too much.
Okay.
Yeah, you could say strictly, if I want to go to KFC, then that will be on a Sunday, once
Yeah,
a
it would be
week
a
or
treat.
something. Yeah, yes. It will be a reward. I like rewarding myself after hard work. So
And in terms of what, so do you run? Do you
I do road work.
Okay.
I'm a traditionalist and conservative, like I told you. I don't believe in gyms. I believe in going and run up a hill. Because even besides being a tradition, I mean, it also helps you meet people, you enjoy the sights as you run along. But being in a gym and
It's a
wearing
bit
your headphones,
experiential.
yes, and being in your own world and confining yourself, I don't believe in that somewhat.
Okay.
Yes, so I do road work, then go and exercise at home. I also have my own gym equipment that I bring out and work out in the courtyard.
But that takes a lot of discipline.
I know it does.
And so many people have gyms at home and then the equipment is just there.
Sometimes it's work schedule, especially if you work 9 to 5. Because by the time you leave office, you're going to get home at probably 9 or 8 because of traffic jams and so on. So it's easier to go from work to a gym, perhaps, nearer your workplace. So by the time it's 8 or 9 and the traffic jam has eased, you then just drive straight home, take a shower and, stuff. But we who don't work 9 to 8, it's easier for us.
Okay.
I could decide to work out in the morning, in the evening, or even lunchtime, depending on how busy my schedule is.
True. Now you talked about back then and now, and then also DJs, the new generation of DJs. Then there are musicians that you have known from way back in the day.
Yes.
There are only a few who've managed to
Survive.
stand the test of time.
Yes.
Well, what do you think, how do you think they're doing? If we talk about some of the big names.
They're doing quite well, and I'm happy for them, because in our days it was extremely difficult. It was like drawing blood out of a stone, getting Ugandans to appreciate African music, Ugandan music. Then it was Lingala and dancehall raga, Shaba Ranks, Maxi Priest, and so on and so forth. So up to the time when I left Uganda to go out, even the chameleons hadn't blossomed yet. So it was a very tough challenge getting African music, Ugandan music played on radio. So like I said, when I was in the Western world, I was happy to finally notice that musicians like Chameleon, Bebe Cool, and Bobby Wine had suddenly, come through.
The Julianas.
Yes, exactly. So they're doing quite well. For those who accept that you've got to be professional, have a manager to take care of your career. Because one of the things they had in the past is somebody thinks he's too big, knows everything, so he will do everything about his career. He knows what he's supposed to do. Yet, when you let somebody take care of your career and pay them for it, it's the better for you. Have more time to relax, do all these things that come with being a good professional. Have time to work out, get people to write songs for you, somebody to take your music around to TVs and radios. So I think they're doing quite well.
What about new young talent? Is there anyone you've seen and you're like, impressed at how they're doing?
Yes, quite a few. They're all doing quite well. All the Vinkas and the Waiki Benders and so on and so forth. Yes, really very good music that can compete even with the Nigerians. That's where we're getting now. The problem is it's probably a bit too expensive. You hear of somebody shooting a video for almost 20 million. That's ridiculous.
I know.
Even 10. You haven't even thought about, marketing your music as well. So music is becoming too expensive. As long as a way should be found of making it cheaper, so anyone who wants to join music can do that.
True. When I was talking to Ragadi recently in an interview, he talked about music and the biggest mistake, people don't look at it as a business and treat it as a business.
Yes, that's true. Because once you do, then you're bound to be disciplined, and don't spend more than you earn, and so on and so forth. The normal principles of business, as you say, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you again for coming on the show. A pleasure sitting down with you.
I had to come over because, I mean, you're one of the people I look up to and enjoy listening to and learn from. You know, learning never stops. If I tell people I like listening to young artists now, young presenters, so I can learn from them, people think I'm crazy. What more have you got to...
It never stops.
Yes. What more have I got to learn from an 18 or 20-year-old? So you're doing a very good job as well.
Thank you.
I rarely do interviews, but when you asked me to come over, so you're a very lucky person in that respect.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.